Hello everybody, welcome to another video and season's greetings. As you can see, we're in the festive spirit here. We have the tree up and we have something underneath the tree as well. Santa's come early and he has brought something not necessarily new, possibly second hand, but something very exciting nevertheless. You can see it's very bike shaped and bike sized and bike boxed, and it says Carrera on it, but it's not a Carrera bike and it's not from Halfords. It may not even be British. It is from the UK, it has been delivered from the UK, but let's have a look inside and see what Santa has brought us early, because I'm very excited by this. Let's have a look. Ooh, interesting. Well, this is very unexpected. Look at this, if I can get it out. Oh, look at that. Yes, my prayers have been answered. It's a 26x4 tyre. It's a fat bike. But what kind of fat bike is it? We don't know yet. It's certainly not a normal fat bike because there is a plug here. And on the plug, or behind the plug, it has a manual that says BH on it. BH Bikes, possibly, a Spanish brand. Very unusual brand. Have some lovely electric bikes. It's certainly not something that I would usually pay for. 4 grand, 5 grand, their e-bikes go for. This one is a second-hand bike that I've got from eBay, and it is very unusual, but it's going to serve some very specific functions over the next few months. And if we can just get this out and show you what it's all about, I'll explain all. Let's have a look. Here we go. Look at that beast. So this is, as I mentioned earlier, an eBay purchase. Now I've been tracking this little bike for a while. I say little bike, very large bike for a while. This is an electric fat bike, but it is an electric fat bike with a difference. It's a BH bike, BH Bigfoot to be precise, and it's the, I think it's the Emotion model. So I think this was a 2016 version of this bike. They did actually make what I think is the first two-wheel drive electric bike where they had a 250 watt motor at the back and a 350 watt at the front, which was very expensive. It was about $4,000 or something. They were quite popular in the States, but this one is the bog standard single drive, rear wheel drive version. So it's got a 250 watt hub motor on the back, has a very small battery, which is part of the appeal because of where it's located and the fact that it's got internal routing with the cables. So we're going to have a look at some of the features of this bike. We're going to put it together, see what it looks like, and then in subsequent videos we're going to show you what kind of modifications we're going to do with this, where we're going to be riding it, and it's going to be very exciting. So we've done a quick half-an-hour build on the bike. We've got the handlebars attached, we've got the front wheel on just so that we can actually support the thing for the time being. And just wanted to see size-wise where it was, because I bought it blind essentially in terms of sizing. The guy said to me, as usual, don't know the size in inches, but I'm about 6 foot, so that kind of works for me because I'm 6 foot. So that's it looks okay to me. Geometry is nice. Just to give you a summary, it is a BH Bikes Bigfoot Emotion 2016 model when this came out. We've got a 26, obviously 26 on the front, 26 on the rear. They're 4-inch tyres. We've got a 250 watt hub motor on the back, and that's mated to a drivetrain which has got a torque and motion sensor on the rear hub. So it's slightly different from the Vulcan E-Spec, but we'll look more into that over the next few weeks when we ride the bike. In terms of the stock components, it's Shimano all round. It's fairly basic stuff. We've got a dual chain ring on the front. Don't know the exact sizes, but it's I think it should have actually been a triple, so I'm not entirely sure where the small cog is. We've got a 7-speed cassette on the back. Probably be looking to change that like I did on the Vulcan E-Spec as well. Might even get an 11-speed on that. Probably go single at the front as well. And we'll be probably changing these pedals, but for the time being it looks okay. Looks like I've actually got a press fit bottom bracket on there as well, which is quite a high kind of specification for this type of bike. Moving up to the cockpit here, we've got these lovely contoured grips, which actually I'll probably keep for the time being. We've got hydraulic brakes actually as standard on this, so we've got a 180 rotor on the front and we've got a 160 rotor on the back. Again, I'll probably change that to 180 all round, but for the kind of riding I'm going to be doing, beach riding, in the sea, just messing around generally, probably don't need anything more powerful than that. In fact, it's with a marine environment, it's advisable to have cable pull but brakes anyway, so hydraulic is probably over-egging it, so we'll probably stick with that for the moment. Weirdly, I've just noticed, as I fitted the handlebars, that I have cables from the control unit that are attached to both brakes, which is rather unusual. I'm not entirely sure what that's about, but potentially some kind of regenerative capacity. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll find out soon enough. We've got the display screen here, which will give you the same kind of information we get on the Vulcan E-Spec, so it'll give you the battery capacity, percentage, 4 different modes on this, unlike the 5 modes that you get on the E-Spec, but that's pretty good for something that's a fairly basic bike at this price level. When this was new, I think this was probably about €1,900. I bought this for £560, £35 postage and packaging, so just under £600, and I bought the Carrera Vulcan E-Spec for £600 as well. So an absolute bargain, had to have it. This is the battery pack. Now you'll see just how small this is. It's very unconventional in terms of the way it's mounted. It's actually mounted underneath the saddle here, connected to the saddle post, which means that all of the cable routing is internal. So we've got internal cable routing from the control panel into our down tube, and that goes through underneath the bottom bracket up to the battery underneath the saddle here. We've got such a small battery and such a light battery because it's only 208.8, so 209 watt hours, so fairly small capacity, but again, for the kind of riding I'm going to be doing on beaches, dunes, that kind of stuff, you're only going to be doing about 10-15 miles anyway. I would have thought on that kind of terrain you probably get about 20 miles capacity on that. If we compare it to the E-Spec battery, you look at the size difference here, it's significantly heavier as well, it's over twice the weight. But then this is virtually double the capacity, so this is a 417 watt hour battery, so pretty much that's half. But again, if I show you how this clips on, again, very unique fitment here. It just slides in here and we've got a 4-pin connector, and there we go, clipped in. We're ready to ride. Might need to do something about a mud guard there, especially if we're going to be in saltwater marine environment. But all in all, it looks like a cracking find. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with it. I'm going to be taking it out probably tomorrow in its stock condition, and then over the next few days you'll be seeing some of the plans that I've got up my sleeve for this. I think we'll also be looking at probably getting a suspension fork as well for a bit more enthusiastic riding. But all in all, absolutely delighted. I think the bike looks sick. I think we can make it look even better. Probably going to be a bit of stock sticker bombing going on as well, but for the price, an absolute steal. And stay tuned if you're interested in seeing this one get developed in the same way that I've upgraded the Vulcan E-Spec.